Kayla, the BookTube Turtle, and today I'm going to be doing my fall wrap-up and my winter TBR. And yes, I'm wearing my Harry Potter shirt from the Harry Potter video that went up yesterday because it's still December 9th, and I just finished filming that video 3 seconds ago. I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in September, October, and November, and at the end I'll briefly mention some of the books I'm planning to read during the winter months. If I've done a review for one of these books, I'll link it, but I don't know if I've really done reviews. When was the last review I even did? I don't know. I just haven't been good at posting videos lately, so I don't know what's going on. I read a total of like 10 books over these 3 months. Not the best compared to the other months of the year. This was just, there was a lot going on with school and writing. I've done a lot of writing the past couple months and not as much reading. Anyway, so I read 5 books in September. The first one is The Retribution of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. This is the 3rd and final book in the Mara Dyer trilogy. I have a review up for the first book, which I'll link. I think I recorded a review for the second book, but I don't think I posted that. And I took notes for the 3rd book, but I never made a review. And I took a lot of notes too. Like, it was like 8 pages of notes, because this book, it is, okay, this series in general is one of my favorites that I've read this year. It was so good. You can check out the review for the first book if you want like a overall what the series is kind of about, because I'm sure I talked about it in there. But this book was definitely 5 out of 5 stars. There's not much I can say about like this 3rd book specifically if you haven't read the other ones, so just go read it. It's so good. It's so good. And the whole thing, especially the last 200 pages of this book, it was just like an emotional roller coaster. I read the last 200 pages in one sitting because I could not stop. And I was just constantly all over the place. I would be like hysterically crying one second and then laughing the next. And I was actually shaking while reading because I was so worked up. It was amazing and I love it, and I'm getting it for Christmas because when I read it before, it was from the library and I need to read it again. Alright, the next book I read was They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. So if you don't know, this book, in this world, you get a call around close to midnight on the day that you're gonna die, and you don't know how it's gonna happen or when in that day it's gonna happen, just that it's going to happen before midnight of the next day. So the main character gets the call, and there's this app that connects you with people in your area that are also supposed to be dying that day, and the main character meets up with this other kid and they spend the day together. It was really good. That's all I'm going to say about it. Also, I bought it on my Kindle when it came out. It was a little after midnight when I downloaded it. And I didn't know until I opened the book, but the book takes place on the day that it came out. So if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen the post I made about it, where I like took a picture of the book at the time it was taking place, and I was pretty excited about it. The next book is TheDarkest Corners by Kara Thomas. I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. It was a psychological thriller type of book. It's by the same author who wrote Little Monsters, which I talked about maybe in our wrap-up, my summer wrap-up maybe. I don't know, but that book was really good. I think I liked Little Monsters more than this one. I don't actually remember what this one is about. I'm gonna look it up on Goodreads. I just remember things, it was like, what's going on? And things happen, you find out some stuff, and it was just like mind blown. Okay, yeah, so it's it's about these 2 girls. They were really close when they were little, and when they were 8, I think, I don't know why do I remember that random number, but I don't remember what the overall story was about. Anyway, so when they were 8, they witnessed something bad, and so the main character Tessa moved away, and the other girl Callie stayed there. But when the story starts, Tessa has to go back for a reason, and stuff starts happening. The next book I read was The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding by Alexandra Bracken. It's basically about a boy who ends up with a demon inside of him because his family is cursed. I am really not doing a good job with these descriptions, but they're all on Goodreads if you want to go look it up yourself for like an actual synopsis. But then with some of these, it's just been so long since I've read it that I don't remember a lot about them. Anyway, so the next book I read was Rite of Rejection by Sarah Negovich. If you've been here a while, you've probably heard me talk about this book numerous times. So I read this trilogy back in like late April, early May, and then 5 months later I'm like, you know, I should read it again. So I did. If you don't know, it's a self-published trilogy and it's so good. It's so good. It's one of my favorite series I've ever read ever, and I love it. Obviously, I mean, I read it twice in 1 year. So it's a dystopian where at 16 everyone is read by this machine that is either going to light up green or red. And if it lights up red, it means that you're going to be like a criminal in the future, and you basically get sent off to this place called the Pit where you're isolated from the rest of society. But I just loved it because the characters were so great and the plot was really great, and it's just so good. Okay, so in October I read 4 books. The first one being Rite of Revelation, the second book to the Rite of Rejection trilogy. All 3 of the books in the series got 5 out of 5 stars both times. I love it so much, and honestly, I'll probably read it again in 2018. Next is 4 Secrets by Margaret Wiley. I think I've talked about this book before. It might have been in a book tag, because I remember holding it up and showing the pictures inside. I don't have it anymore because it came from the library. Anyway, this is told from, I think it was 3 point of views, and it's like in journal entries, because these 3 kids are in a juvenile detention center for kidnapping this 4th kid. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on that gets revealed throughout the story. Everybody kind of has their own secrets, and not everything is what you think it is. Next, I read The Diabolic by S.J. Kincaid. This book, 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. It was so good. I can't wait to read the sequel, which is already out. I just haven't gotten it yet. I need to add that to my list, actually. So in this world, there are Diabolics who are, they're not human, and they're engineered to protect the children of important people. So the main character, Nemesis, is bound to protect this girl Sidonia, who is the daughter of this important guy. He's like, I don't know what his like title is, but he's important. It's really good, and I got so attached to the characters, and I can't wait to read the second book. The last book I read in October was A Short History of the Girl Next Door by Jared Reck. This was actually really good, considering I'm not one for realistic fiction, but it was just very, I don't even know how to explain it. It just like was very relatable with like the way the main character, like his thought processes. It was very like real. I don't know how to explain that. It's about this boy who's been in love with his best friend forever. A long time. I don't know how long. I'm sure it says in the book, a long time. And stuff happens that kind of causes like a rift in their friendship, and then other things happen. It just really changes the main character and his perspective on a lot of different things in his life. And then in November, I read 2 books. I'm telling you, like, what did I do in November? I don't know. The first one was Magnus Chase and the Sword of Summer, and the second one was Magnus Chase and the Hammer of Thor. So the November book of the month for Booksplosion was the 3rd book, Magnus Chase and the Ship of the Dead. So I had to read all 3 of those books before the live show, which I think ended up being on like December 2nd. I rated all of them 5 out of 5 stars. They were really good. Technically the last book I read in December. I started it the night before the live show, and I think I read like almost 100 pages of it, and then I read the rest of it the next day. Yeah, I finished it. And this was like a 500 something page book. I finished it like 5 minutes before the live show started, but I did it, so I was pretty proud of myself for that. Anyway, if you don't know, this series is like sort of connected to the Percy Jackson series, but not really. It's based on Norse mythology, but Magnus Chase is Annabeth's cousin, and that's how they're connected. And I think it's happening the same time that the Apollo series is happening, I believe. Okay, so on to my sort of TBR, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So in the months of December, January, and February, there's definitely some things I want to get to. First of all, Harry Potter. If you've seen the video before this one, I'm reading it again. Yay! I'm currently, oh, it's not in here. I'm not gonna leave to go get it either. I'm currently reading the Beautiful Creatures series. I'm only on book 1. but I plan to read all of them over the break because it's so good so far and I need more. I also want to read the Lunar Chronicles, or at least Cinder, because I've been meaning to read that forever and I haven't yet. I want to read Otherworld, which is the Booksplosion December book of the month. I don't really know what it's about, but it's for Booksplosion, so I'm excited to read it. Oh, and Tower of Dawn. Hold on. This book came out in September, and I bought it when it came out, and I have it right here without the dust jacket on it. Where's the dust jacket at? I don't even, is it up here? Hello? I didn't even know what happened to the dust jacket. Okay, I had the dust jacket earlier. I don't know. Anyway, Tower of Dawn. But like, I've been having, okay, when I first got it, I did read like 20 pages of it, and I was just like, I can't deal with Kale right now because I had other stuff going on, and so I put it down and I didn't pick it back up. I'm reading this over break though. This is happening. It's happening. Yeah, that's all I can think of off the top of my head. Actually, no, wait, I made a list earlier. It's on my laptop. Okay, I want to read the book All Rights Reserved, where it's like in this world where every word you say costs money, and that just sounds really interesting. And I really want to read One of Us is Lying. That's been on my list for a while too, and I meant to get it. I haven't read it yet. So many books. There's so many books. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Let me know some of the books you've read these past couple of months and what you plan to read soon. And tell me what you thought of any of the books that I discussed today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye!